Welcome to the RetroWolf podcast, episode number 12. And today's guest is somebody that I've been very excited to talk to, and that is Alonzo Vines. How you doing tonight, Alonzo?
I'm doing good. Glad to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man, glad to have you here. I wanted to quickly tell you a couple of reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Number one, I feel like you have a very reasonable, logical, and level-headed way of looking at things when it comes to video games and the gaming industry. I like the way you think, man. You know, I like the way um, you don't jump to conclusions so quickly like everyone else does. You actually take the time to think about it before before jumping to assumptions and jumping to conclusions. And whenever you send your tweets out or reply to people, you make a lot of really good points, man. And I like the way and you're positive. I like your positivity. That's one of the biggest things, man. I love to have people on the podcast that are very positive and optimistic people. And you definitely ooze positivity on Twitter, and I think that's awesome, man. I like how you every morning as telling people good morning and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff is awesome, man. But before we get started, a lot of people in my audience may not know who Alonzo Vines is, so if you don't mind, share a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, yeah, like you said, my name Alonzo. I don't have a YouTube channel. Well, I have one, but I haven't really put any content on there yet because I'm still trying to get all the software and stuff out. I need some working towards that, but it's coming. Once I get the stuff I need, I'll be hitting the ground rolling on that. But like you're saying, yeah, I'm super positive. I see a lot of people on Twitter. A lot of stuff be going on. So people be so negative and stuff, man. You gotta always just have that one person that just be level headed and be like, okay, I know it's not going the way you want it, but you gotta be able to look at it from your point of view and also look at it from another point of view and be able to just come level headed and just think of it like that. So I always try to do that with everything, whether it comes to video games or just life in general. And I know a lot of people see that I like trolling people a lot on Twitter. I definitely do a lot of that, but I just want people to know that I just do it just for fun. I don't just try to belittle anyone or just try to mess. It's just all for fun. So I hope people don't take that too seriously.
I see that, man. I think it's funny when you do that because I mean, to me, I think it's obvious that you're not trying to just troll people to make people mad. You know, you're just making a joke. You know what I mean? You're just throwing a little comedy in. But I like what you said about with video games and everything else in life, trying to look at both sides, because you know as well as I do, man, that these days people don't do that. People don't try to look at the big picture. They don't try to look at each side and take all the facts in, all the information in, and come to a conclusion. They just jump to a conclusion just automatically. They let their emotions get in the way and they run with it. So that's like I said, that's one of the things I like about you, man. You look at both sides, you really seem to think about it, and then you put your thoughts together and come to a good conclusion on things.
So yeah, doing it that way, that's the best way to go about it. Cause I know a lot of people with this. I don't know if we're gonna go right in there. That's gonna be one of the topics now with the whole Microsoft bomb, but that's the thing. As soon as that happened, before everyone got all the facts, everybody would just jump in the gun oh, this is so bad for the industry, Microsoft. But then when you actually more news started coming out, like news today came out, I think it was today, that a lot of the reason why this deal went through, because Bethesda with all the recent events like Fallout 76, they was going through financial issues, which also contributed to Microsoft swooping in and buying them up, which made it so easier. All of that didn't come out in the beginning. Everybody saw, Microsoft spent $7.5 billion on Bethesda, and that's all people ran with, and without waiting to get all the facts first before they came with their conclusion. They didn't do that. And I was sat down I'm gonna just wait and see what everything that come out. Then as soon as that news came out, Microsoft had a reason. They didn't just jump the gun. They saw that them on Bethesda, Bethesda, what they do and what Microsoft do. They do a similar thing. Bethesda do RPGs and first-person shooters, and that's mostly what Microsoft is known for, like Halo and Gears shooting games. So both of those companies, they gel well together. So it was a perfect match in my eyes. So I didn't really see it was a bad thing. I think it was a good thing. Now, Sega, on the other hand, well, I'll wait till we get to that. I'll talk about that then. I'll try to go to that right away. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I don't think that it's going to be a bad thing for the industry like a lot of people are immediately jumping to doom and gloom. Because, I mean, really, Bethesda and Microsoft have always had a close relationship. They've always worked together really closely. I mean, when you think back to the OG Xbox, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Morrowind didn't come out on PS2. It only came out on the
So
OG
came on
Xbox, and I think,
Xbox.
yeah, and I think that was
Yep.
one of the first games that Bethesda actually published to a console, at least to that degree. So yeah, they've always had a good relationship with Microsoft, and I'm sure that in the future, a lot of Bethesda games probably will be Xbox exclusives, but I don't think they all will. I think Microsoft, I think they might actually let them publish to other consoles as well. But there's definitely going to be some games that they're going to want to keep for themselves. Like I would imagine probably, I don't know, man. The next Elder Scrolls game, they might actually let Bethesda publish that on PS5 too, because I mean that's going to be a money maker.
And also, I think wasn't that game already in the development on most systems before the acquisition? I think they were already making them that, so it'll be kind of crazy to like just ditch it right now. But I think what they really gonna do is, I know they're trying to get Game Pass. They're gonna try to get Game Pass to PS, PlayStation, and Nintendo so they can have it everywhere instead of just having the $70 on those systems. They have Game Pass on Xbox. That's what I think Microsoft's goal is.
Yeah, it's possible, man. There's been a lot of rumors of some form of Game Pass possibly coming to the Switch, but I don't know if they would put it on PlayStation, man, because
So
Microsoft
Sony
still.
won't allow it.
Yeah, Sony probably wouldn't want them to. You're right, but
They got
but
PlayStation now.
yeah, true. But before we get into any more topics like that, I wanted to ask you what all games you've been playing lately, man.
Well, the games I'm currently playing, well, I'm playing Sushi Strikers on my Switch in portable mode, and
Nice.
I just started playing on Jade Empire on my Xbox One X.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm alternating between those two games. So those are two games that I'm playing.
Nice. You sound like me, man, playing multiple games at once. I do that shit all the time, man. Uh, yeah, I've never played Jade Empire. I have it on the OG Xbox. I have it, but I've never played it. I've heard it's an awesome game. You like it so far?
Yeah, this is my first time playing it myself. I just bought it. Like I got a lot of mom and pop shop close by that sell a lot of retro games. So I've been like building my gaming collection. And Jade Empire was a game I always wanted to play. So when I found it, then I started playing that. So that's what I've been playing. I just started. I'm still near the beginning of the game. I haven't made it too far yet. So, but based on what I played, I'm liking what I played so far.
Awesome, man. What about Sushi Strikers? I have that one too, and I've never played it. Is it pretty fun?
Yeah, so far it's really challenging.
Is it?
Yeah, it's better than playing portable mode, but
Yeah.
it's the touchscreen so kind of getting used to. So
Nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, I've been playing, let's see, I'm playing, well, I've got it right here actually. Playing Yakuza 0 on the PS4.
nice.
My first time ever playing a Yakuza game, and I like it so far, man. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it, so it makes me want to play the rest of the Yakuza games. Also playing Okami on the Switch. I've never played Okami before. It's amazing. I'm kicking myself in the ass for never playing it because it's such a great game. What else? I'm always playing a GameCube game for my GameCube Gallery series. So I've been playing this 3D platformer called Doctor Muto on the GameCube, and that game's solid, man. That is a good game that nobody ever talks about. So I'm looking forward to doing a video on that one.
Yeah, I've been looking into trying to get an adapter so that I can hook my N64 and my GameCube to my HD TV, but I
Oh yeah,
can't.
yeah.
I bought so many like adapters and none of them work right for me, and I just gonna keep sending them back and getting refunds. I'll still just trying to find the right one that worked for both 64 and GameCube, so I can play it on my HD TV. So I'm still looking into that.
When we're done with the podcast, I'll send you a link to what I bought for the GameCube. It doesn't work. It only works with the GameCube, but it's a really good HDMI upscaler, and it's not that expensive either. So I'll send you a link to that when we're done, so you can check that out.
Okay.
You got to have a specific model of GameCube, but I'll send you that information too, so you can see if you have the right model.
Yeah, 'cause I got when GameCube first came out. I still got my original GameCube. That's the one I have. Yep, I got my day one, so I still got my OG GameCube.
That's awesome, man. I wish I still had my GameCube I had when I was a kid. Man, when I was a kid, I had a GameCube and like 60 games, and like an idiot, I sold them all, and I regret it, but it is what it is. It happens. So I wanted to ask you real quick another thing before we get into to some more topics, gaming industry type topics. What's kind of your history as a gamer, man? When did you kind of start playing video games? What got you into video games?
Ooh. Well, the thing that got me to video games. I gotta say, my older brother. When I was younger, we used to play. I've been playing video games since the Atari Atari 2600. But it wasn't the first system I played. The first system I played was, of course, the NES.
Me
I
too.
played that first, and then I went back and played a lot of Atari. 'Cause my grandma, she had an Atari, so we played that. I used to go to my cousin's house and play Sonic on his Sega Genesis, and I've been a gamer since I guess since day one.
Yeah. Yeah, same here, man. Similar story with me. I pretty much first started playing the NES, then went into Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I never really got into the Atari, just because nobody in my family had one for some reason. But played the hell out of the NES. Played it a lot, man. So that's cool. That's cool. So, all right, man. Let's get into this. So, what do you think about? I'm curious to get your thoughts on all of the just insanity that's been going on around the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series pre-orders.
Well, luckily for me, I avoided that entirely. I mean, I want to get both systems eventually, but neither system really have that one game that really made me want to fork out the money to buy one. And of course, I didn't want to go through that whole hellhole with the pre-order situation. And I think Sony and Microsoft, they both went into it with their own way, and neither one worked. I think Sony probably went about, when it comes to like bots, I think Sony probably went about the best way, only because they just dropped it out of nowhere, which didn't give people that use bots enough time to really jump in right away. Which Microsoft, since they told you ahead of time, it allowed people that use bots to already have their stuff already set up. So when the pre-orders go live, the bots could just start running, getting all the games. And I feel bad for all the people who tried the pre-order ones. And I've been hearing all on Twitter about the whole hellhole about Best Buy and Amazon. It's just crazy. It shouldn't be that hard to pre-order systems. It just, they got all this money to do all this stuff, but they had all this issue with pre-orders. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I tried to pre-order a PlayStation 5. That was before I found out that a lot of the PlayStation 5 games are also going to be coming out on the PlayStation 4. But I
Yeah.
tried to pre-order a PlayStation 5, and GameStop's website was down, Best Buy's website was down, Walmart was sold out, Target was sold out, Amazon was sold out. But eventually, randomly that night, I went on Best Buy and they were available again. I got one in my cart. When I went to the screen in the cart and I tried to click checkout, every time I would click checkout, it would just spin and it wouldn't do anything. So I would just try that over and over.
Got refreshing.
Yeah, and eventually I got past that screen and I got to the screen where you choose whether or not you want to pick it up at the store or if you want to have it shipped to you. And I couldn't get past that screen, and then eventually it said they were sold out. So I tried. I didn't get one, but you know what? It's fine, dude. I've got plenty of games to play. I've got plenty of games to play, so it's not like, and I've got a lot of PS4 games that I still need to play. Like I haven't even played Resident Evil 2 remake. I haven't played Resident Evil 3 remake. I have not played Death Stranding. There's so many PS4 games, amazing PS4 games. What's that samurai game that came out recently? I haven't played that either.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I'm gonna play. I'm about to start that. After I beat Jade Empire, that's my next
nice.
game. I got the collector's edition of Ghost of
Oh,
Tsushima. One with the come with the mask. I
yeah,
thought I wasn't gonna get one. I should have pre-ordered it when it first went out. So I was like, man, I ain't
yeah.
gonna get it. Then close to it coming out, Amazon got more copies. I was like, oh yeah, I got to get it.
Hell
So
yeah.
I was lucky. I was lucky enough to get that.
Yeah, yeah. That was a cool collector's edition. I watched somebody unbox that, man. It's pretty good one. But yeah, so I'm not upset that I didn't get a PS5 because I got plenty of things to play. And like you said, there's really not that one game yet that just makes you, at least with me, anyways. And it sounds like you're the same. That there's not that one game that just like makes me want to go buy the system yet. Now I'm sure that's gonna happen eventually. Like I tell you, there's two games that would make me buy an Xbox Series X immediately, and that is the next Skyrim game, and if there is a new Fallout game that's an actual Fallout game and not like Fallout 76.
76.
Yeah, that would make me buy any system in a heartbeat. I would, even if I didn't have the money, I'd find the money somehow, dude. I'd sell stuff in my game room if I had to. But anyways, yeah, the pre-orders, man, it was a mess, and I don't know about you, dude, but scalpers really piss me off. These people that go on eBay and immediately try to sell their pre-orders for double the price. I cannot stand people that do that.
I mean, yeah, it's not good, but I mean, it's what can we do? I mean,
Stop buying from them.
I mean, the only way we can stop things like that is for us to not go out there and support it. And I just look at it as like this: when new stuff come out, you don't have to have it. I mean, I know it's just human nature that you want to be part of the crowd. You want to be in the heat of the action, having the system like when everyone else comes. But sometimes you just need to take a step back and say, do I really need this day one? Is it really that important? I mean, well, to some people it is. So I'm not trying to say you shouldn't get it if you want. If you got the money, hey, that's something you get it. But I'm just saying, for me personally, it's not really a good thing every time to just go out and buy systems day one. Because we all know usually the day one systems will be the ones that usually have all the problems. so sometimes it's best to just wait and let everyone else be the guinea pigs and get the first system so you can know everything that's wrong. Once they fix all that and they start putting out systems later that fix all the issues, then jump in. So sometimes that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. Like the red ring of death on the Xbox 360. I mean, it happens all the time. The first generation of consoles, new consoles, usually they have some kind of problem that just they didn't catch whenever they did their testing or whatever, I guess. So that's a good point. Let me tell you something crazy, dude. Okay, so get this. And this goes back to the whole scalping thing. You know those Mario 35th anniversary pins that Nintendo was giving to people if you did something? Yeah. So there's already scalpers putting those pins up on eBay. I'm not even joking, dude. For $100, $150, $200. And here's what's even crazier. There's people buying them. If you go on eBay right now and look up Mario 35th pins, and then you go to filter and filter to sold, you're going to see that people have paid $150, $200 for these pins, buying them from these scalpers, man. What is wrong with people? I don't understand.
They just got money to spend.
I guess so.
You can be using that money to spend on way more important things.
Yep.
But you can't tell people how to spend their money. So
that is true.
People are going to do with their money what they want to do with it. So all power to them.
That is true. I just wish people would stop buying from scalpers, man, because that's the only way scalpers are going to stop doing what they're doing is if people stop buying from them. Because, I mean, of course they're going to keep doing it because people just keep giving them their money, you know. But, you know, there's not really anything we can do about it. It is what it is. I never buy from scalpers personally, and I would encourage anybody watching this podcast. I mean, like Alonzo said, it's your money. You can do what you want with your money, but I would give some serious thought into not supporting these scalpers. But that's just my 2 cents.
I just had this philosophy. I apply to like video games and just anything in general. Like my mom always put on me, if you can't get it the right way, if you can't go out there and just buy it with the way it's meant to be bought, then just not destined for you to have it. And I just leave it at that. If you can't get it that way, and you gotta do all this extra means or pay more than what you think is worth to obtain it, it's not worth it. So.
Yep. You're right about that, man.
I just leave it like that.
Yep, you're right about that. So, all right, let's get into this, man. So, all right. So you already know what I'm probably about to get into. So one of the problems with Twitter, social media, just being online nowadays as a gamer, is that so many gamers just love to complain all the time about everything and be negative. Now, look, I get it. There are legitimate complaints against companies that people raise online, right? I understand that. There are, and you know, we should be letting the companies know about these things as much as possible. I mean, they may not listen to us, but I mean, it's still good to let them know. But I feel like, and Alonzo, you can tell me what you think about this, but I feel like most of the people that get online and bitch and complain and are super negative about everything gaming, I feel like a lot of them are just complaining just to complain, just to kind of jump on the bandwagon. You know what I mean? Like with the Mario 3D Mario All Stars, people were just so outraged by that game. You know what I mean? Like, so I wanted to get your thoughts on why do you think so many people get on Twitter and just complain? Like every time Nintendo tweets something, the first tweet or the first reply to their tweet is somebody saying direct. You know what I mean? Why do you think people do these things, man?
First, we're gonna start with the Mario thing. So people was outraged. I guess the outrage didn't help enough because in the UK it's the third best selling game of this year in the UK already. So I guess all those complaints didn't hurt because people went out and bought it after all that complaining. And about the what you said is true. Every It is fair criticism. Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, none of them are saints. They all do things that we don't like. So I guess I agree that we should let our voice be heard. But the thing I just don't get is, like, say if somebody say something and you just reply to them, say like you were saying, people complain a lot, and you say what you got to say that contradict what they're saying. Then the first thing they want to say is, "Oh, you're a defender."
Fanboy.
You just a fanboy. You just you act like you work for them. You just try to worship the ground they work on, like they don't do nothing wrong. And I just don't get that. It's just crazy. and and like you're saying, when Nintendo tweet out anything, and the first thing they ask for a direct, and we just had a direct like not too long ago.
A good one.
Man, a good one. And then how many directs do y'all want? And about the Mario, like people complaining saying, "Oh, Nintendo ain't put enough effort into it because they didn't do what Activision did with Crash Insane Trilogy." But Nintendo never said that they were remaking these games. Anything of the sort. And all the rumors going all the way back to when like Emily Rogers and Direct Feed Games, a whole bunch of real people that actually be saying good information, letting people know Nintendo was not going to remake any of these games. They're just going to grab the games, all three games, put them in the collection, and barely do anything to put them out there. They let people know that from the start. Nobody wanted to listen. Only thing they would do is just bash them, so y'all don't know what y'all talking about, and y'all just spreading these false rumors. And then people like 4chan, people that you never even heard of, would just be saying outrageous stuff that you know not true, but they will believe them, but they'll talk down on the more credible people. Then once the people that was credible, information that they was telling you turned out to be true, then they want to lash out at them. And then they wonder why people don't never want to tell you information, because when they tell you stuff, you just try to talk down to them. Like, they don't have to tell you anything. They trying to do you a favor by letting you know information. They don't have to. They just doing this out of the kindness of their heart for you. So I just don't get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it either, man. And I'll tell you something that drives me nuts. So this is at least this is what I see online, right? What I see, and like you said, man, all of these gaming companies, dude, they all do things that are anti-consumer. They all have some shitty business practices that they do. Like, for example, when Sony wasn't supporting crossplay at all. You know, all these companies do things like this, man. But what I notice is a lot of people online try to act like that Nintendo is the only company that does stuff like this. I notice a lot of people will jump on Nintendo for every little tiny thing they do, but not so much with Microsoft and Sony, even though they do crap all the time, and you'll barely hear anybody bring it up. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's popular for people to hate on Nintendo, and I don't get that, because in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are not going to agree with what I'm about to say. But I really feel like even though at the end of the day, Nintendo, just like any other company, they're all about making money. I feel like Nintendo cares about their consumer though more than Sony and Microsoft. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree. Of course they want to make money. They want to make as much money as they can, but at the same time, I feel like Nintendo is more passionate about their products and put more work into a lot of their products than Sony and Microsoft. And that's just my opinion. So, but yeah, it just seems like people love to hate Nintendo. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think out of the three, I think Sony. I mean, I'm a fan of all three.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I'm a diehard Nintendo. I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. I love Sony to death too. But out of the three, I think Sony get the biggest pass.
Oh
Cause
yeah.
I'm gonna just take what happened this year. Starting with their recent event where the no sign up locking up Final Fantasy 16 for time exclusive. I didn't see anyone complaining at all about them signing that exclusive deal for Final Fantasy. Sony, a lot of people was praising Sony like that's what you should do. Then as soon as Microsoft and clowning Microsoft say how they don't have any games, soon as Microsoft bought Bethesda, everybody came out of the woodwork saying, oh, that's anti-consumer. Oh, Microsoft trying to keep games from everyone. But you were just praising Sony for trying to keep Final Fantasy 16 away from everyone else. You were praising them, but you're going to bash Microsoft for doing the exact same thing that Sony just did. That's not fair. that's not fair. You're going to praise one company, but then criticize another company for doing the exact same thing that you were praising another company for doing. I mean, that's just hypocritical. Back to like when Sony used to like had like E3 press conferences and they'll just show the same games every E3 and they would get a pass for it. Nobody would complain, and they'll say, "Oh, Nintendo should do that. They should keep updating us every time." And then once they did do that a couple of times, like with Zelda, Breath of the Wild, they showed it a few times. Then people on backlash why they keep showing the same games over and over again. But you were just praising Sony for doing that, but you don't criticize Nintendo for doing it.
Yeah, like Days Gone, man. How many years in a row did Sony show Days Gone at E3? It had to have been like 4 years, man. Death Stranding, that's another one. That game kept getting shown.
Horizon,
Horizon, yeah. I mean,
Ghost
and
of Tsushima.
right, and I personally I don't understand why that. I mean, I get it. I get why that bothers some people when companies do that because it takes forever for the game to come out and they're just seeing it year after year and wondering when it's going to come out. But like, there's other games to play. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right that Sony does get a pass by people a lot. But if Nintendo does the same thing, they're going to be all over Nintendo. And look, just like you, I love all three consoles. I have all three consoles. I have a PS4, I have an Xbox One, I have a Switch. As a matter of fact, every generation, as long as I'm able to, I usually get all three consoles eventually because at the end of the day, I love video games. And if a console has video games on it that I'm interested in playing, that I'm really interested in playing, I'm probably going to get that console. Like, uh, and, you know, I've never had anybody call me a Nintendo fanboy. I'm sure it's going to happen eventually, but I've never had anybody call me one. But if anybody ever does call me a Nintendo fanboy, you know what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell them, okay, if I'm a Nintendo fanboy, then explain to me why during the generation of the Wii U, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3, why did I pretty much only play the Xbox 360 during that entire generation? Because during that entire generation, the Xbox 360 was the console that I played the hell out of. I played it more than anything. So if I'm a Nintendo fanboy, why would I play the Xbox 360 for like 5 years more than any other console? But I don't like, just me personally, I don't like the word fanboy. I think it's a very negative word. You know, I mean, I get it that people call somebody that's very passionate about a particular console a fanboy, but I just feel like fanboy is a negative word, man. If somebody's passionate about a console, just let them be passionate about a console. You don't have to get mad at them for it. You know, like what you like and let them like what they like. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think most times people use that term because they be upset because that's the only thing that they feel they can retaliate with, because they can't retaliate any other way, and with any common sense or anything constructive to say. So they resort to that because they feel like that's the only way they can get their point across, which is the wrong way to look at it. Like, I might have many people call me that online, or whenever somebody say something, I just reply to them. I get people tweeting back at me. It's like, man, it don't seem like you ever had anything negative to say that Nintendo do. I was like, I have negative stuff to say. It's just I just look at it from both sides. I try to look at things from the consumer side, and I try to look at it from the business side. No side is right. But most people do. They try to discount the business side and just try to look at it from just the consumer side. And I know us being a consumer, we shouldn't really look at it from their point of view. But me personally, I just look at it from both sides. Both sides need to be able to compromise and come to a good point that benefit both, benefit the business and it benefits us as a fans. And I think doing it that way, the industry will be better as a whole if we both can just look at both sides equally and then articulate it and just bring it home.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, man, and I think it's really important. I think it's important to look at it from the business side and the consumer side because, I mean, if you love a console, right? Say you're a diehard Sony fan, right? Wouldn't you want Sony to make as much money as they possibly can so that they can then take that money and make even bigger and better games and make better products? Because at the end of the day, the more money a company makes, the more stuff they're going to be able to do with that money. They'll be able to take that profit, put it back into the company, and put out more games, better games, hire more studios to help them make games, come out with, put that money into to the next gen hardware. So I want all these companies to succeed. I don't want any gaming company to fail. I want Microsoft to succeed. I want Sony to succeed. I want Nintendo to succeed, because at the end of the day, the more they succeed, the more we as gamers get to enjoy.
I agree.
So what else on Twitter lately has been driving you crazy, man, that you've been seeing?
Well, at least right at the moment, just the whole pre-order fiasco. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone is going to say about Tokyo Game Show, which is about to start tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. What are you looking forward to seeing about Tokyo Game Show?
I'll be honest with you, I have not been keeping up with Tokyo Game Show. I don't even know what's going to be there. I haven't been keeping up with it at all. What are you expecting to see?
I know on Saturday, Koei Tecmo having a 50-minute presentation on Hyrule Warriors on the Calamity War.
Really?
They had on Saturday. Man. And Capcom, they having a 2-hour presentation on Resident Evil Village.
Really?
Yeah, 2 hours
Wow.
presentation on new Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to hear more about Monster Hunter Rising and Monster Hunter Stories 2 for the Switch. We're supposed to hear more about those too. So
Nice.
I'm looking forward to those 3 things.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I didn't even know. I had no idea. Yeah, I would love to see more about Age of Calamity. I want to see what they're doing with the gameplay, because they said they were going to incorporate more like Zelda-like gameplay mechanics to that whole style of game. And of course, I want to see more about Resident Evil Village, because I don't. Did you ever play Resident Evil 4?
Yep, that's my favorite Resident Evil.
Me too. Me too, dude. I don't know about you, but I'm getting some Resident Evil 4 vibes from that game with Resident Evil 7 gameplay. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. If that is the case, if they're like going to take Resident Evil 7's gameplay and try to make it feel like Resident Evil 4, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I just need to play 7, but I don't know. I'm just a huge fan of just all in first person. I guess because I'm playing Resident Evil, I'm so used to the third person that I guess I didn't really want to play it in first person. That was the one thing that I was kind of disappointed about, with Village that's going to be all in first person again. I guess I'm gonna have to will myself into actually playing or not, but I'm still on the fence of whether I want to play it or not, knowing that it's gonna be in first person. But hey, who knows? During the presentation, they might announce they have third person mode that you can play in third person if you like. So who knows? It's still an option. But
That would be
I guess
cool. Yeah,
guess
that
I'm
would.
just taking a wait and see approach, see what's going on with that.
Yeah,
But what
yeah,
I've seen so far look really good. What I've seen so far,
yeah.
so
Yeah, it looks cool, and that new Monster Hunter game looks pretty badass too. And I've never played a Monster Hunter game before, man. So I think that might be the first Monster Hunter game I ever play.
I'm looking more forward to the Monster Hunter story because of RPG, and I'm a huge RPG fan. So I'm looking forward. I'm gonna get both, but I'm mostly looking forward to the story too because I love RPGs. So I'm mostly excited for that one.
Hell yeah, nice, nice. So man, I wanted to ask you. I don't know about you, but I think I really feel like 2021 is going to be a huge year for Nintendo. I have a feeling they're gearing up to make 2021 one of the best years for the Switch because think about it. We did we got a lot of good first party Nintendo games this year, but not as much as some of the other years on the Switch, right? So I'm thinking, but I'm sure the virus probably changed a lot of their plans, but I really feel like they've been planning on 2021 being a big year, mainly so that they can compete with the new consoles, with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and X. So I'm gonna say it right now. I think that there's going to be a hell of a lot of amazing Nintendo first party games coming next year, including a lot of surprises. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be next year for sure. I wouldn't even be surprised if we didn't see a Super Mario Odyssey 2 next year. I think next year is going to be huge, man. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be a good year for me because I think they're gonna blow it out with Zelda next year. Also, I think I think that Skyward Sword Skyward Sword HD gonna be a thing. I think that's gonna be a thing. And I know a lot of people are probably not gonna be too happy, but I think they're gonna keep the motion controls, which I hope so, because the motion controls wasn't bad,
Dude,
and
I
the motion control technology in the Joy Cons is way better than what the even what Wii Motion Plus was able to do. The Joy Con technology is way superior to that. And I think that's what Grezzo was doing on remake because they did Link's Awakening on last year, and I think they're doing Skyward Sword HD, and of course they're gonna do it similar to what they did with Mario. And I know people not gonna like that either, but I think they're gonna do the same thing with Zelda. Have a Zelda collection that's gonna be limited. I know a lot of people probably cringe and hear me say it, but that's the route they're gonna do. But I think the games that people are expecting to be in it is not gonna be. I think my picks, if I had a choice to pick, it would be on Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, or not Wind Waker, but Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Just had those in a collection by itself, and had the Wii U ports of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker as their own games. Then have a full blown remake of Skyward Sword, and then Breath of the Wild close out the year.
Dude, that would be amazing. I would be all for that, man. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I've played every single Zelda game. I would not complain at all if they did that. I would buy all of them.
And because I'm gonna make Metro fans happy, Metro Prime Trilogy gonna finally come out next year because Metro's anniversary next year too. So
Oh,
I think
really?
yeah, that's next. Yep, Zelda and Metro came out the same year. So I think the Metro Prime Trilogy gonna finally get released, and Metro fans can breathe easy, know that the trilogy finally came out and make them happy. And I think we probably actually might get to see the first real clips of Metro Prime 4 next year.
I think so too.
I got a slim chance we might see some at the Game Awards this year, but that's probably slim to none. But next year, I think we're gonna finally see actual gameplay of Metro Prime 4 next year. And I think Yoshi using Unreal Engine. I think they're gonna use Unreal Engine. They probably gonna use not Unreal Engine 4, but I think they're gonna use Unreal Engine 5 with Metro Prime.
That would be
And
crazy.
I think that's gonna, and of course that I know that whole rumor swirling about that Switch Pro. I think that's gonna be a thing, but it's not gonna launch in the beginning of the year. It's gonna launch probably during the holidays, day and date with Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and they're gonna have special edition Switch Pro Zelda thing for the holiday, so they can keep their sales going.
Yeah, that all would be badass, man. But You know as well as I do, dude. Nintendo, they are so hard to predict. They are one of the hardest companies to predict. You'll think they're gonna do one thing, and they'll do something completely different. Like a good example of that would be that Mario Kart live game with the remote control Mario Karts. Nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody could have guessed that was gonna happen. You know what I mean?
That was the thing I was most hyped. That and of course the Game and Watch.
Yeah.
That Mario game, that Game and Watch. Those are two things that I like the most from that Mario Direct. Already got those. Well, I'm waiting for the Mario Live thing to go live in America. They still haven't. They come out next month, and they did pre-orders on everything else, but they haven't done pre-orders on that yet. Well, they haven't done Game and Watch pre-orders here in the States yet, but in the UK, they have. I pre-ordered on Amazon UK for the Game and Watch.
Oh, nice.
They only $50, so yeah, I pre-ordered two of those. I'll probably give one to my son and then have one for myself. So yeah, I got two of those on pre-order from Amazon UK. I just pre-order them on there while I wait for the American one to go live, and then once that one go live, I'll cancel the other two and then just have them here. So
That's a good strategy, just in case you're not able to get one, because man, you know the scalpers are going to be all over those things.
yeah, so just because I can't get it here, I already have it already locked up already. So just covering my bases.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I hope I can get one, man. I want one of those because they look really cool. They look really cool, and I have a feeling that I have a feeling people are going to be figuring out how to mod those pretty quickly, so that you can like
Oh
put
yeah.
ROMs and stuff on them. Yeah, I have a feeling it won't take long before somebody mods one of those. Um, so that's always cool. I'm not big on modding and emulation, but I think it's cool that people figure that out in case people want to do that.
Oh yeah. So what you think? The whole one thing that have been blowing up, especially today, are these rumors of Microsoft possibly buying Sega. What you think about that?
I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean it's possible, but plus they tweeted out they're not announcing any more acquisitions right now. So I don't know. I don't feel like Microsoft's going to be buying Sega. Um, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so either. And just speaking about Sega, they value. I know they spent 7.5 billion on, but Sega is worth way more than that. They've been around forever, and all the classic IPs they have is worth pretty much on Doom and else going on big, but so Sega's franchises got legacy behind. They've been around for like decades. Sega is one of the marquee. Yeah, they not the same company that they once were back in their heyday, but they franchises still hold a lot of weight, even though they ain't doing much with them. and, and like Son hasn't been that great when Sega make them themselves. But I don't think I know Microsoft probably could buy them, but it'll cost a lot. And also, I don't think what Sega does, what makes Sega who they are, mesh well with what Microsoft does. I think if anybody was not, this is not going to happen either, but if Sega was to get bought up by anyone, I think they would be better off going with Nintendo.
I
Because
agree.
what they both do, they mesh well together. And plus, they got history in the console war together. So it just, what better way for them to be join forces?
I
And
agree.
we could find if that were to happen, we could finally get that game, that Sonic and Mario crossover game we always wanted, not the Olympic Games, not that we don't want that, but the real traditional Mario and Sonic crossover that we all wanted. That I mean, we're not gonna get it, but it would be more likely to get it if they were to join forces. But
Dude, could you imagine if Nintendo developed a Sonic game? Could you imagine how amazing it would be if they put one of their like say they put the Mario Odyssey team on it and they developed a Sonic game? Dude, that would be awesome. But that's a dream.
yeah,
That's
long
probably
as we,
never gonna
long as
happen.
they don't, yeah, as long as we don't do no trade off and give Sega Mario, because they're gonna destroy it
Oh
with their track
gosh.
record as of
Ooh.
late.
Ooh.
When they kind of make it platformers.
Yeah. I
well,
can't.
unless they let the company who made Sonic Mania. Sega didn't make that internally. They like fans make the fans that make that. So long if they let them make it, then I'll be more grateful. Sega themselves, nah, that's not good.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the digital future of gaming, man? Because gaming is taking a huge shift to going all digital. Streaming services are starting to be a thing, and I can tell you're a big physical guy because I see you getting your physical Switch games all the time and your collector's editions and stuff. So, what are your thoughts on the digital future of gaming? Are you kind of worried about it, or are you looking forward to it? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm definitely not looking forward to it,
Me either.
but it's inevitable. Eventually, it's where it's gonna go. I mean, nothing much we can just try to postpone it, but it's really nothing we can do. But just talking about it just pains me because I don't want it to go in this direction. But with technology, I mean, they companies want to do what's going to bring them in the more profit, and digital is the way they can make the more profit than going physical because they can cut out middleman and the profit go straight from us to them and without no middleman in between. So I don't know, but
Yeah, you're right, man. It is inevitable, and one reason that we know it's inevitable because we saw it happen with music first. Music went digital, and then music went pretty much all streaming. Yeah, you can still buy CDs, but most people don't buy CDs. Music is pretty much all digital now. And then it happened to movies and TV shows. So now movies and TV shows are starting to become all digital. Physical is starting to slowly disappear. You're seeing less and less Blu-rays being made. They're all going to the streaming services. They're all going to these digital platforms. So obviously, video games are going to be the last entertainment medium to make that transition because video games require more technology than music and movies do to be able to enjoy them. So it is inevitable, like you said, it's going to happen eventually. And just like you, man, I'm not looking forward to it. But when we get to the day that there's just no more physical games, I mean, I won't have a choice but to embrace it because I'm still going to want to play video games. And, we'll still have companies like Limited Run Games and companies like that will be publishing physical games for older consoles, I'm sure. Like in the future, when Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are just all digital, I have a feeling we're going to see more and more companies popping up that start publishing physical games that were released on older consoles. Or I said that backwards. We're going to see companies popping up that are going to continue to take digital games that were released on older consoles and publish physical versions of them on those older consoles. Like I could see 10 years from now, when the Switch is no longer a thing and Nintendo's moved on to whatever they're going to move on in the future, I could see companies continuing to publish physical games for the Nintendo Switch because 10 years from now, there's still going to be millions and millions and millions and millions of Nintendo Switches out there in people's homes. So there's still going to be a market for physical games for a long time. But yeah, you're right. Digital is inevitable. And there's still a lot of problems that they've got to figure out. Like, if I buy a digital game, I sure would like to be able to trade it to somebody if I want to, or sell it to somebody if I want to. But we can't do that right now. And that's a problem.
when things go all digital, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't even been. I haven't. I'll be trying not to that far yet because I'm just trying to like just live in a moment and just enjoy what we have while we have it still. So I try to do my part to try to stave it off as long as possible. That's why I support companies like Limited Run and Super Rare Games, Special Reserve Games, and games come physical. I try to get a physical whenever I can. But if I can't, then I don't have much of a choice. Because I know not every game company has the money to make physical games, so the only way they have to put their games out there. But all we can do is just play our part. And the only way it's going to go all digital sooner is if we embrace it. The sooner we embrace it, the sooner it's going to come. And the more, I mean, well, even resistance is going to come eventually, but it's just not going to come as fast as it would be if we fully embrace it. But,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. And I like what you said that right now you just want to live in the moment and enjoy, what you're getting. I'm the same way. I honestly don't think about the digital future all that much because I'm too busy to. I'm too busy playing current games or working on the YouTube channel. I don't really have time to think about the inevitable all digital future of video games. But when the day comes, I mean, I'll just roll with it. You know what I mean? I'll go along with it, and I'll still, if there's still physical games, I'll continue to buy them. But if a majority of the games are digital and that's the only way I can play them, at the end of the day, I just want to play video games. So if I have to buy mainly digital games, I'll do it. So earlier you'd mentioned, and I was actually going to ask you this, so I'm glad you mentioned it. But you had mentioned that you're possibly going to be starting a YouTube channel pretty soon. So what's the plan for that?
Well, still like formulating what I really want to do, and I know I do want to talk about like I still want to do my like own like spin on it. Yeah, I want to talk about news. I want to do podcasts and like similar like a lot of times like I know you might notice sometimes I like go live on like Twitter and like just put my thoughts up there. Mostly I want to do a lot of that and just come speak straight from my heart about like stuff like the gaming world that I see from my own point of view and just get my voice out there. And I want to do like I said have been thinking. I said I want to have like my son. I'm gonna have my son up there because usually I do a lot of unboxing stuff. Usually me and my son do a lot of unboxing videos. I posted a lot of those unboxing on my Twitter page. So me and my son used to do a lot of unboxing and stuff like that. So I want to do a lot of those, and I just want to just talk about video games. Just talk about what I'm passionate about. So.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think if you get into it, I think you're going to really enjoy it. Um, I've been doing it for it'll be 2 years in January, and I've had a blast. I love doing YouTube, and I'm not making any money off of it, and that's fine because I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it just so I can share my love of video games and talk about video games. And but the greatest thing about it is all the people you get to meet. You know, I mean, you're already meeting a lot of people through Twitter, but once you started getting involved with starting a YouTube channel, you're going to meet a lot of people throughout that journey as well and make a lot of new friends and stuff. And for me, that's the best part about it. But dude, if you start a YouTube channel, man, I'll support you. I will definitely support you. So keep me updated on that, man. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Yeah, also want to do like skits and stuff like that. I have been like thinking of like doing a little mini little movie thing that I have been formulating in my head for like a little bit. I just need to take what I've been thinking and put it to paper. But I have been thinking about that but I'm waiting to get the equipment that I need. But I've been thinking about that. So I got a lot of stuff like going through my head that I want to do, but I just wanted to carefully like plan it all out first and not just jump the gun. So.
Well, I get that. That makes sense, you know, trying to plan it all out. But at the same time, I would say, man, I would say go ahead and just jump in. Take what you got, jump in, upgrade your equipment as you go. Because the sooner you jump in, the better. Trust me. Like I wish that I had jumped in a long time ago before I did. Because like before I started my channel, I'd always wanted to get into YouTube, and I just kept putting it off, kept putting it off. You know, I kept putting it off, saying, I want to plan it out a little bit more. Or I want to wait and get this piece of equipment or this piece of equipment. And I wish that I hadn't have done that. I wish I would have jumped in sooner. And you know, but that's what I usually tell people is I wouldn't wait. If if you're comfortable with it, I would just go ahead and jump in with what you got and then just upgrade as you go. Like if you go back and watch my first video, ooh, it wasn't good, man. The video quality was bad, the lighting was bad, the audio was bad. My on-screen presence was bad. I had no energy. But I learned as I went. With each video, I tried to look each video I made. I tried to look at it objectively and say, okay, what can I do better next time? You know what when I rewatch my videos, I try not to be biased to my own videos. You know what I mean? Like when I watch my videos, I try to pick out the things that I know could have been done better, and try to improve on those. So that's really what I like to tell people whenever they're thinking about starting YouTube, is just jump in, learn as you go, make improvements as you go. If you make mistakes, try to fix those mistakes going forward. But the longer you wait, you might end up regretting that.
Yeah, cause I have a channel that I already got it so that I finally got the approval so I can live stream on there.
Oh,
But
nice.
I haven't like tried live streaming or anything yet. I got approval to because you had to wait 24 hours in order to be able to live stream, and so I went through that process and I'm able to live stream on my channel and everything. But I just haven't like made anything since I just made it back in 2012. That's when I first made the channel, and I put one video up there just to see how it turned out, and I haven't put anything up there since then. So
That's exciting, man. I would definitely love to see you jump on YouTube. Like whenever I see you go live on Twitter, and um, I think you would do well because, like I said, you've got a good, reasonable, logical way of looking at things, and I feel like a lot of people appreciate that, even though I know you get shit from some people. The people online that like to be trolls or haters. You're always gonna have those. Um, but I think people would gravitate towards your channel because of the fact that you do look at things from all angles and really kind of analyze the situation. I think people like to see that on YouTube. So yeah, man, keep me updated. Once you get that going, let me know, and I'll be there day one, and I'll share your videos and stuff. So keep me updated. You got any more topics you want to jump into, man?
well, actually, I do have that I have been talking about it a lot, and that's how I think people. Not everyone does this, but I know people are like huge fans of like I guess the AAA companies like the Capcoms and things like that, and I know a lot of people like get on me about Nintendo and how they feel I'm defending. But I could tell you one thing that I am a huge defender of, and that's indie companies. And I beat my hand on the table for them all the time. And I just think that like when Nintendo like doing these indie directs, that's really the one thing that really gets under my skin the most is how a lot of not everyone but tons of people try to look down on indie studios like they're not important, or try to just discredit what they do because they don't have the money to make these high graphic games like the big budget companies. And I think that these smaller companies are like they're the future. And how look at like how we grew up loving companies like Capcom and a lot of them, but all of their great talent that they had that made them so great, once they left, these small studios that a lot of people looking down on, that's what all of those great talented people went. So they can make what they want to make. And I just think that they deserve more respect than they be getting. And I just hold them to a real high standard just for as much as I love Nintendo. I beat the table for a whole bunch of indie studios, and I think they deserve a lot of more respect than they get.
Dude, you are talking to the right guy about this because I am a huge, huge supporter of indie games, man. Huge supporter of indie games. I cover indie games on my channel a lot. I play indie games a lot, especially on my Switch Lite, dude. I play tons and tons of indie games on my Switch Lite. And I think that there are a lot of indie games that I would say are better than most modern games that come out. There are so many indie games that are just absolute masterpieces. And you're right, a lot of people look down on indie games. There's a lot of people that say indie games aren't real games, and that is just absolute bullshit. I think there's more originality coming out of indie games these days than modern games. You know what I mean? And there's so many talented indie studios, and like so every month at the end of the month I do a video where I cover upcoming Nintendo Switch games that are coming out in the next month. And most of the games that I cover are indie games because I like to put the spotlight on these indie games. And I have one guy, he always comments something hateful on my videos, but which whatever. I ignore him most of the time, but uh pretty much every time I make one of those videos, he comments something like this: "Oh, great, more indie shit." He says something like that. So there are a lot of people, and it's very unfortunate. There's a lot of people that have this mentality, like you said, that indie games are not real games, and they disrespect indie developers and indie games. And I don't understand it, because a video game is a video game. It doesn't matter if it's low budget. It doesn't matter if it's a $5 game versus a $60 game. It's still a game. It may
The
not
quality
be
of it.
right. It may not have those freaking, high end graphics and, you know, high production values that some of the modern AAA games do, but most indie games, or a lot of indie games, are really, really good, man. There's so many gems out there. And and another weird thing about people having that argument, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, is even the biggest companies, even those companies started out as, they weren't called indie studios back then. You know what I mean? On the Super Nintendo NES era, they didn't call them indie studios, but that's pretty much what they were. When Capcom first started and they were putting out their first few games, they were pretty much an independent studio back in those days. If
You
those
got to start somewhere.
Right, exactly. If those games had come out today just like that, they would be considered indie games. So it's weird, man. I don't understand why there's so many people that won't acknowledge indie games, and it's very unfortunate, which is why I always try to put the spotlight on a lot of indie games on my channel, and I play a lot of indie games and buy a lot of indie games. And it's another reason why I love companies like Limited Run Games, because they support indie companies heavily as well. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's definitely a good topic, and it's one that gets under my skin, just like it gets under your skin, man.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. I'm an avid supporter of indie studios because, like you said earlier, they more creative, and a lot of the reason because they don't have to answer to no one. They their own boss. They don't have no big president don't tell them this is the type of games you can make. You only allowed to make this type of game, or you only can make games with this franchise. You can't do anything else. That's a lot of the reason why a lot of developers that we grew up loving, why they left their parent studios, because they just got fed up with just having to just make a certain type of game. They won't allow to make the types of game that they want to make. So I'm like, screw this. I'd rather just go out on my own and just take a chance. At least I'm able to make the types of games that I want to make and not have to be told what I can and can't make.
Yeah, you're right, man. And yeah, like I said, some of the best games that I've played in the last couple of years have been indie games. Like, I mean, I could name them off all day. Dead Cells, The Messenger, Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom. There's just so many just incredible indie games. One I beat recently called Blasphemous. That game was amazing. And that game, man, you could tell they put so much work into that game. So much work. But you know what? At the end of the day, even though, just like you, I see a lot of people that don't really respect indie games are on the rise. Even though we see a lot of people that don't respect them and don't like them, I feel like there's more people that do respect them and do like them. Unfortunately, the people that don't respect them typically have the loudest voice online, just like negativity. People that are negative, or people that are complaining, typically have the loudest voice over people that are positive or trying to give praise to something. But I do feel like indie games are on the rise. I mean, we're seeing it with some of the sales charts on the Switch eShop. A lot of indie games top the charts on the Switch eShop, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? So, what are some of your favorite indie games you've played recently?
Because two was it like two games that indie games that I always talk about. Greece. I think that's how I pronounce.
Yeah,
Pronounce Greece. Yeah, GRIS. I think
yeah,
that's how I pronounce it right. And that's one of my favorite games. And another game that I know a lot of people don't talk about, but I'm a huge fan of, and it's called The Last Day of June. It's pretty much if they took the butterfly effect with Ashton Kutcher, if they took that and turned into a video game. That's pretty
Really?
much what it is. It don't have no like dialogue or anything. Nobody speaks. It's that in video game form, and it's really good. So it starts also. You and your girlfriend, y'all out on a date. That's how the game start. So y'all driving home, and y'all get into a storm, and you end up crashing, and she dies. She dies in a car wreck, and you get put into a wheelchair. Oh shit, I'm not my go. you you be stuck in a wheelchair. So that's how the game starts, and you have like the premise of the game is to try to try to go back in time and try to prevent her from dying. So that's the whole premise. And the people in your town that you stay in, they played a part in your accident, what took her life and what paralyzed you. So you gotta interact with the people in your town and try to prevent the accident from ever happening. So that's the premise of the game.
That sounds awesome, dude. What'd you say that game was called?
Last day of June.
See, I've never heard of that one, so I'm glad that you brought that up. That gives me another indie game to go check out. Is it on the Switch?
Yep, it's on the Switch.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I like the idea of that. That sounds like a real interesting game. And you said there's no dialogue in it either?
Nope, no dialogue. I beat it a while ago. I believe no dialogue at all.
Yeah. So they basically tell the story. So you're able to get all that story without dialogue. That's pretty impressive.
Yep, pretty much. Yep, no dialogue.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I need to check that out. I haven't the other one that you mentioned, Greece, whatever it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it either. I've never played that one either. I have it. I got it from I think it was Special Reserve Games, maybe. It was one of them
Yep.
one of them companies I got it from, but I've not
Yep.
played it yet. So that's a good one too.
Yeah, I got. Yep, I got the collector's edition. I got a special edition of that from Special Reserve Games. Yeah, I have that. I had to get that. That's probably my favorite indie game that I ever played to date. I love that game. That game is really good.
Nice. Yeah, I need to play that one too. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but all those Switch games there, I moved into the game room recently. Those are all my games that I've got from like limited run games and super rare games and places like that. I moved it because my Switch games are in the living room, but I'm running out of room on my shelves in there, so I'm trying to move some of them in the game room. I'm probably just going to move all the Switch games into the game room, but um, even though I've slowed down over the last year, um, I was buying a lot of those limited games. I've had to really slow down though. Like pretty much the only company that I buy from mostly is limited run games, just because just some financial hardships that I've run into. So I've had to kind of really slow down on what I buy. But eventually, if I'm ever able to, I'm gonna buy a lot more from some of the other companies too. Because, dude, think about this, man. There's already a shit ton of physical Nintendo Switch games coming out that are not from these limited companies, right? I mean, you can go on Amazon and dude, there's so many physical games being published on the Switch. You can't even keep up with all of them. There's so many. But if you add that to all these limited companies and what they're publishing, the at the end of the Switch's life cycle, there's going to be thousands and thousands of physical games on that console, and that is insane, man. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the Switch's life cycle, it has one of the biggest libraries of physical games that we've ever seen.
Which one of your favorite collector's edition?
Oh man, let me look at my collector's edition.
It don't have to be from limited run. Just your favorite Switch, your favorite collector's from Switch in general.
That's a good question, man. I like the Blasphemous one a lot from limited run games, but I also really like the Turok ones from limited run games.
Yeah, I have the Turbo one. I didn't get Blasphemous. Oh, because usually when I buy from limited run before I purchase a game, I scroll down because sometimes some of their games will come to Best Buy. So if it says it's gonna come to Best Buy, I won't buy it from limited run. I just wait till they come to stores. And Blasphemous is one of the games that Best Buy was getting, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And now I
Yeah.
can't find it because it's never at Best Buy. I see all the other games, but I don't see that game. That's the one I want. Because the last one I bought that they put out, I bought Divinity Original Sin 2. I got that from Best Buy. That's from Limited Run. That was the last one that I bought from them.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I think one of my favorites is probably the Turok, because of the fact that they made the collector's edition box look like a Nintendo 64 box. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones.
I see you have those Star Wars ones in the back.
Yeah, yeah,
What Star Wars ones you have? I have Shadow of the Empire and Pod Racer on the
dude,
N64 ones. I have those are two I have.
I missed those, man, and I really wish that I hadn't because I really wanted that Shadows of the Empire. Those are the Game Boy and the NES games that they put out. So
Oh yeah,
I think
the
it's
Empire Strikes.
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, yeah, that's what those are. Yeah. And they're awesome collector's editions, man. But I really wish I hadn't have missed the Shadows of the Empire because I love Shadows of the Empire. Now I think I,
The original N64 one.
yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, it's back there on the shelf. So I've got it. I've got Shadows of the Empire on the Nintendo 64, but I really wanted the limited run games version too, man. And I missed out on it. So wonder what that's going for on eBay now.
Yeah, my older brother had Shadow of the Empire. Cause when we was younger, when we got a 64, we had to share it, and that was one of the games he bought. And still big into Star Wars, and that game was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great game. So okay, so you can get it on eBay brand new. Not the collector's edition, just the cartridge. You can get it brand new for 65. I mean, it's not too
Not
bad.
bad. Could be worse.
Yeah, it looks like the collector's edition. The cheapest one I'm seeing is 120 for the collector's edition, brand new. So I mean, it's still pretty expensive, but I mean, I guess if I ever really wanted it, I could go on eBay, and I don't like doing that, but because the collector's edition was only like what, $60
Yeah, like
originally.
65. Yeah, like 65, I think, something like that.
So they're selling it for basically double the price. Oh man. But yeah, no, I love limited run games, man. I love all those companies, and I support them as much as I can for sure.
Yeah, they get a ton of money out of me, especially this year. Like they just got like 200 something dollars out of me because I bought they had all the Shantae games and I bought every collector's edition. I
Oh,
bought
nice.
the Game Boy Color game because MVG he helped develop the work on that one, so I wanted to show support. I'm a huge fan of his. So I definitely want to show support by getting that, and I bought the other ones with Riskies, the other two. They switch games as well. So I got all three of those collector's editions. They were like 65, like $60 a piece. Now they were 54.99 a piece for all three of those.
Yeah, dude, I love the Shantae games, man. Those games are so good. I didn't get the collector's editions, but I did get the standard editions, and I got that slip cover that holds all the Shantae games. I got that too, so I'm looking forward to that. I've played all the Shantae games. Well, I haven't played the newest one. I think it's called Seven Sirens or something like that. I have not played that one yet.
Yeah, I got the collector's edition on order from Learning Run for that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm looking forward to playing that because that's the only Shantae game that I've not played yet. But anything else you want to get into, man?
Oh, also, what did you think? What was your opinion about E3 being canceled this year? You think it's gonna come back next year? I know they said it is, but what do you think about the chance of E3 coming back? Because this pandemic gonna be going on for a while. So you think E3 gonna come back next year?
Um, I think if they do come back, it's going to be completely different than it's ever been before. But to be honest with you, I mean, look, I love E3. I grew up with E3. Me and you both did. We grew up with E3 every year, looking forward to E3. But I think nowadays, I think E3's sort of become obsolete nowadays because these companies can just go on social media or go on YouTube and they can make their announcements, and their announcements will go viral and they'll reach just as many people. I'd like to see E3 make a comeback. I really would because E3 has been a big part of my life as a gamer. So I don't want to see it go away. But I think they're really gonna have to make a lot of changes, man. I think they're gonna have to make it more digital. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these companies are doing more digital events nowadays, so I think they would need to do that. But um, it's possible we might. It's possible we might see an E3 next year. But if we do, I bet it's going to be all digital.
Yeah. I mean, I hope, man. It probably will, but I hope hopefully they're not gonna always want to go to E3. I mean, I know it's super expensive to go, and you gotta go all the way to California. Well, I was in California for like 5 years when I was active duty before I moved back to Virginia. But so it was always a dream of mine to go to E3. So at least let it stick around until I get a chance to go, and then you can get rid of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it. I'm trying to go at least once. I just think it'll be fun, and just to go and just to enjoy the environment. You get to meet a whole bunch of new people. People you probably, especially a lot of people that we like we follow on YouTube and stuff. It'd be a good chance to actually get to meet them face to face and let them show them support and show them how much we admire what they do and respect what they do.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Although I will tell you, man, I've met a few of the big YouTubers that I admire, and it wasn't all I thought it was going to be. But at the same time, there have been other big YouTubers that I admire that I have met that have just been amazing, awesome people, like the Game Chasers, for example. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Game Chasers, but yeah, I got to meet those dudes and hang out with them, and they were just great, man. But yeah, I've always wanted to go to E3 too. I don't know that I'd want to make the trip out to California though. I'm not. I've been to California a couple of times. I'm crazy about it. But you know, maybe one day. You never know. So you said you live in Virginia.
Yeah, I live in Virginia. Yep.
Nice. It was about 2 years ago. I went to Chesapeake Bay, Virginia, to do some video game hunting, and with me and my nephew, had a lot of fun. It was cool. Went to all the game exchanges in the area, flea markets, thrift stores, just hunting for video games. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, cause on like Virginia Beach is this store that we have called Cool Stuff. That's usually where I go. Like all the classic old school games that I usually haven't buying of late. That's why I usually go. They get brand new games too, like up to date games and stuff. They have brand new games too. But I usually supposed to go there to get all like the old school classic games. I got tons and tons of Legend of Zelda posters that I go there and buy. I got like 8 Legend of Zelda posters that I bought from them. So I used to go there, and they got a whole bunch of anime. They sell movies, anime, they sell everything in there. And it just this notion that a lot of people spending this information that's not true about when people like to say that Nintendo hasn't released any games this year outside of outside of Paper Mario and Animal Crossing, which is not true. Now, I mean, I know some people don't like to count on ports as games or games like Good Jobs, which is a game that Nintendo collaborated on, or Pokemon Cafe, or even Jump Rope Challenge. I know people they're not like traditional games in a sense, but they are video games and they count. So that's fair if you don't just go out and say, well, okay, Nintendo released games, but they just didn't release games that appeal to me. Now that's fine. I agree with that, but that's not what people do. They just come out and just say like, well, only thing they released all year is Paper Mario and Animal Crossing, because those are the only things you cared about, and just try to sweep under the rug all the other games that they did put out this year just because you didn't like them. You can go out and just announce that, oh, they released a whole bunch of games, but I just didn't care about any of them besides just these 2 games. That's just how, and that applies to any company, whether Sony or Microsoft. You should, even if you don't like the games that they put out, that don't mean you should just act like they don't exist.
Yeah.
And that's just
No.
my only issue with it.
Yeah. No. I totally agree, man. And I mean, look, all of these companies, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they all have years where they don't put out as many first party titles as you would expect. You know what I mean? They all have years like that. It just happens, you know what I mean? And this year has been kind of different because obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, and Japan got hit pretty hard, and Nintendo's main headquarters are out of Japan. A lot of their development teams are probably in Japan, so I'm sure that the virus had a pretty big impact on them. And plus, something else that a lot of people don't think about is I don't think I don't think there's a lot of working from home that goes on in the Japanese culture. I don't think that's something that they've really heavily adopted. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty
You're
sure
right.
I'm pretty sure I remember reading that. So I'm sure it's been difficult for a lot of people in Japan to deal with the virus, and try to work from home. So I know that's had to have had an impact on a lot of Nintendo stuff that they've been working on, I would imagine. But yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, man, and I agree. I 100% agree. The people that say there's no games, it just drive me nuts, and the people that complain about ports drive me nuts too. Because, and I get it, everybody has their own opinions, everybody has their own thoughts. Me personally, dude, when it comes to the Switch, I'm like, bring everything to the Switch. I don't care if it's a port. You know what I mean? The more games, the better. That's just going to make the library even stronger.
And when you really look at it, isn't every game a port? Because you start off building on the PC, you got to take it from the PC to put it to console. You're technically porting it from the PC to your console. So every game is a port when you really look at it from that sense. Because they're not being made on the console, they're being made on the PC and then it's molded and copied from the PC and put on the console. So it's technically porting it from somewhere else to your box. So every game is a port if you want to really look at it.
I can't speak too much on that. I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff, but I mean, yeah, I could see that. That's definitely a good point. But yeah, I just want more games, man. I don't care if they're ports. You know, I'm
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
I'm all
more
for it.
games are better.
And plus, on the
And it,
Switch, you can
it coming
play
from
things handheld. So
and coming from the Wii U, we was crying to get these types of games on Wii U. We won't get these. We won't get ports on Wii U. So at least getting them on Switch, we wasn't getting them on Wii U. We were standing there twiddling our thumbs, just hoping to get something. We won't get indie games. Really, we won't get third-party support. We're just getting Nintendo games every few months because they were still getting used to making games in HD. So that was worse. We people complaining about games now. We had it worse back on Wii U. The way the people who support the 13 million people who support the Wii U, me being one of them, that we had it rough.
yeah, no, yeah, I agree, man. I supported the Wii U too. I played, like I said, I played the 360 more during that era, but I still had a Wii U and I still played the Nintendo games. But another thing that drives me crazy about the whole when people want to complain about the Switch not having games, which is just completely false. That's not even an opinion based statement. That's just false if somebody says that. But what drives me crazy about when people say that is, okay, you may not like the games that are coming out right now, but have you played every single game that's been released on the Switch so far? If the answer is no, and you're upset that there's not new games coming right now, why don't you go back and play some of the games that have come out on the Switch that you haven't played yet? Because I know good and well a lot of these people have not played most of the games that have come out on the Switch, whether it's first party, third party, indie. There's so many games, man. It's just the problem is so many people limit themselves to a certain type of game, or some people will only play first party games and not play anything else. Some people will, you know what I mean? And that's really part of the problem is people need to kind of expand their horizons a little bit and explore the gaming library a little bit more. I mean, that's just my opinion. I get it. I get it if somebody only wants to play first party games, that's fine, but you're missing out on a lot of other great games.
I'm glad you brought that up. 'Cause I used to be one of those people that just had a type of games that I played, but then I started looking at it from a bigger picture. It was just give games a shot. You never know what things might surprise you. Try to get like I've been getting big into like visual novels, for instance, was a genre that I never liked. I ain't say I never liked them. Was something I did seen that I really started really trying to get into on the Switch, and I never like thinking I would actually like games like visual novels, but I just like let me get this genre a shot, and I've been surprised. And you never know, just like you were saying, I agree. Broaden your horizon, never know what you like and what you don't like. You can say you don't like something if you haven't even tried it.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
can surprise you. like the games that we do love, like me and you said, we huge Zelda fans. Bro, we like Zelda. We wouldn't never know if we liked the Zelda if we didn't give it a shot. We gave it a shot and then we fell in love with it. Yeah, that's all. That's all it is. You ain't gonna never know what you like and what you don't like if you don't give it a shot. And also to piggyback what you said about going back and playing games that you haven't played, like this year, like people are saying that the Switch don't have any games. And last year, near the end of the year, people was complaining about there being too many games that they didn't have the money to afford all the games that were released back then. If you couldn't afford those games, but you don't have nothing to play now, you can go back and play those games now. Like Astro games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and Astro Chain that barely said over 1 million. Those are great games. If you haven't played them, you could go back and play Link's Awakening, Damon X Machina, Ring Fit, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield sold like a bazillion copies.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave Pokemon out of the equation. But all the other games sold like Luigi's Mansion sold like 5-6 million. But a lot of those other games like Astro Chain and those sold like 1 million each. They're great games. If you haven't played them and you don't have nothing to play, you should go back and give those games a shot. Dragon Quest Builders, Super Mario Maker 2, Fire Emblem Three Houses, all the great games from a year ago that people was complaining that were releasing so close together that you didn't have the money to afford. Now you have money to afford, and since you complain about not having nothing to play, go support those games and get those sales up, and then we can get more games like those.
Yep, you're right, man. You're right. And the bottom line is, unfortunately, you can't please everyone, and people are always going to find something to complain about. Always going to find something to complain about. It's just with social media now, we see those complaints a lot more because they actually have a platform where they can throw them up. But yeah, you're right, man. It drives me crazy, man. It's just one of those things that drives me crazy. But it is what it is. You can't. A lot of these people, you're not going to be able to change their mind. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. I mean, you don't know if you're going to like something until you try it. Like I'm glad you mentioned visual novels because that's a type of game that I've yet to play. I've never played a visual novel, and actually here lately I've been thinking about buying one so that I can try it out and see if I like the genre. If I don't like it, not a big deal. At least I know. At least I tried. At least I gave it a shot, gave it a fair chance instead of just saying, "Oh, I'll never like that." You don't know. You know what I mean? Like there have been so many video games, especially as I've been doing the GameCube Gallery series on my channel where I'm going back and playing through GameCube games. There have been so many GameCube games that when you go look at the reviews, they're like average reviews, like middle of the road, like 5, 6 out of 10. And I play the game and I have a blast with it. You know what I mean? But so because I'm trying to at least give it a fair chance. But a lot of people just don't want to do that these days. They just want to stay in their bubble and not come out of that bubble and not try new things. And then as a result, they limit themselves and then they get mad when the company is not giving them what they want in their little bubble. What can we do, man? All we can do is, I mean, my whole philosophy, man. I'll be honest with you, Alonzo. I don't usually talk about topics like this. Like on my channel, I pretty much never talk about topics like this because one of the reasons why I don't like to talk about topics like this is because you're gonna have people that are gonna get pissed off at you. Which, to be honest with you, that doesn't really bother me. If you're getting pissed off at me for my opinion, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate yourself. Man, I could really go on a tangent and a rant about this. I'd really one of the things that I hate about social media is how much people attack other people for their opinions. You should never I don't think you should ever attack somebody for their opinion. We can debate stuff and talk about it and have an intelligent conversation about it, but unfortunately most people don't do that. They just go on the attack. If they see an opinion that they don't like or they don't agree with, they go on the attack instead of trying to sit down with that person and have a good, intelligent conversation. People just go on the attack. And that's one of the things that drives me crazy. And that's why I don't like to talk about stuff like this on my channel because it's just going to cause so many people to go out on the attack and tell you your opinion's stupid and attack you about it. And I try not to get involved in any of that because at the end of the day, I just like playing video games. I just want to have fun and play video games and share my love of video games. I don't want to get in debates and arguments with people. So I try, me personally, I try to avoid that.
Well, also speaking of that, vice versa, sometimes when you do have like having great conversations, some people had this feeling that you're attacking them when you're not. They try to play the victim card sometimes. Not saying that everyone do, but sometimes when, like you're saying, two people can just have like a real great conversation, nothing like hostile, and someone might take it like you're attacking them, which is not usually the case. That happens from time to time as well.
Yep, yep, you're right, and it's a shame, man. It's really a shame that a lot of people online can't just sit down and talk things through instead of just immediately going on the attack. It's a shame, and to be honest with you, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's only going to get worse. I'm not seeing it get any better.
Also, another thing is, say like a company, like I put this out one time, like when we were saying like people like to complain a lot, and I say like if someone is, I still take it like a relationship, like if you're in a relationship with someone, and they keep doing stuff to you that you don't like, what's the thing you're gonna do? You're gonna just end it and just let them go and just go and try to be with someone who give you what you feel you worth and what you deserve. So that's why I look at it from video game companies. If you have an issue of company not giving you what you want, and you let your voice be heard, and things don't seem to change from you voicing your concerns, then sometimes you just need to just put your foot down and just step away and just move on and just go support someone who's willing to give you what you feel you deserve. But when you tell people that, they get this notion that you're trying to silence their voice, that you're trying to tell them, oh, what you're trying to say, I should have a voice. And nowhere in there did a person say not to have a voice and voice their opinion. All we were saying is if a company just keep doing things constantly over and over again that you have a problem with, why don't you keep supporting them? They never gonna, if you support them, they're gonna think what they're doing is cool, that you have no issue with if you keep supporting them with your money. And I just don't get why people feel that you're just trying to silence them from having an opinion when that's not the case. You're just saying that you should just look at from big picture. Just support someone. Don't support people who are not doing for you what you want, what you feel you deserve, and support someone who will. And they're not saying you can still voice your opinion, and if they do stuff that you like, support it. If not, don't support it. But keep constantly just complaining over and over about the exact same thing and nothing ever changing. That's not get you anywhere. The thing that's gonna make change and gonna impact on the most is affecting their income. Like I'm gonna say the online app for Nintendo. They had that for 3 years. People have been complaining about that for years. Have Nintendo listened and got rid of the phone app? No, they did not. The app still live on and kicking. And the Joy-Con drift issue with Nintendo getting sued, a lot of people voiced their opinion, but I look at it from this point of view. Yes, our complaints about the Joy-Con issue did have an impact, but the biggest impact that made Nintendo come out and address it was the lawsuits coming, attacking them and impacting them financially. That's what's making them change, not your voice. Your voice had just a small part of them changing, but they don't get impacted financially. Threat don't get impacted financially is what making them come out and want to do stuff, not your voice. But I'm just saying, people just assume that people just tell them not to have a voice. That's not the case. You can have a voice. It just constantly just complaining about the same thing over and over, and you see things not changing. It's not helping the situation.
If people would just like, for example, if people really were so upset about the Mario 3D All Stars collection, well, guess what? There's a simple way to let Nintendo know you're upset. Don't buy it. But guess what? People bought it. A lot of people bought it. So obviously they weren't that mad. If you know what I mean. If I guarantee you, a lot of these people that were complaining about it still bought it and played it. even while they were complaining, and we're still probably having fun with it.
And speaking of that, I don't know why they were upset. There was a lot of the same people that just said they wanted the virtual console to come back and so they can play all those old games. They weren't asking for them to get remade when they were asking for the virtual console to come back. They took what would have been virtual console games and put them in a collection and gave them to you. They gave you what you wanted. You wanted to be able to play the old games, so they gave it to you. They gave you what you wanted. You wanted to be able to play old games, they gave it to you. So what's the complaint? I know people complain about the whole being a limited time thing. I look at it like real life. It's the anniversary of Mario. When we have an anniversary in real life, or if you're in a relationship or anything, that anniversary is a special occasion. It only lasts one day, then it's over. That's how I look at it. It's celebrating the anniversary of Mario. It's anniversary on the whenever it has every year of however they want to celebrate his anniversaries. So it's a special occasion. So I don't have no issue about it being limited. And they gave you a timetable. It's not like it's hard to get. Easier getting that than getting a pre-order for the new next-gen systems. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could go on Amazon right now and still buy the 3D Mario All-Stars collection. So
yeah, they're easy to find.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, companies release limited products all the time, man. All kinds of companies do. It's not new. Companies have been doing that for decades, releasing limited products. Limited edition consoles are released all the time from all three companies. Yeah. I mean,
shoes, everything.
Yeah, it's nothing new. Companies have been doing this for a long time, but of course, you know, if Nintendo does it, oh shit, we better get our pitchforks out. Oh man. Well, listen, dude. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Really appreciate you coming on, man. Enjoy talking to you. And everybody listening, I highly encourage you to go follow Alonzo on Twitter. I'll leave his Twitter handle in the description down below. So if you're on Twitter, go give the dude a follow, because he's a very positive guy, and he posts a lot of really good stuff on Twitter. So I think you would enjoy following him. And plus, if he's going to be starting a YouTube channel soon, you can probably find more about that on Twitter as well. I'm sure you'll announce it as you start to get that going.
Yeah, I will. Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I enjoyed it. It was something new. I mean, me and VG Monster and Carl Rocco, friends of mine, we got a podcast that we haven't done it in a while because a lot of stuff been going on. Like VG, he's moving and stuff. We've been having a lot of stuff going on. But we have a podcast of our own called the Commission Cast that we do and put on VG Monster's channel. So follow him as well. He's a good friend of mine. He put out great YouTube content. So we should be working on getting a podcast back rolling again. Probably next month in the near future. I don't want to jump the gun and give an exact time when it's coming back, but we both all three of us gonna sit down and start talking about when we're gonna bring that podcast back. So look out for that.
Well, man, again, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, man, and definitely want to have you on again sometime. And anything else you want to say before we end the podcast?
Oh, this one thing I know we talked about earlier about the limited thing. My favorite limited edition is the Octopath Traveler. That's my favorite limited edition that I have. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Nice. That is a very, very, very nice one for sure.
That's my favorite RPG on the Switch. I'll talk about that a lot. So nice. I just wanted to say that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great game, man. Well, again, dude, thanks for joining the podcast. And everybody out there, as usual, stay safe. Keep playing games and having a good time, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.
Peace out. Later.